Pessoas Good job.
Welcome, everyone. The day is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. This is the regular meeting of the Clear Lake City Council. Madam Clerk, can you lead us in roll call?
Councilmember Slotin,
Here.
Councilmember Purdock,
Here.
Councilmember Kramer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Overton,
Here.
and Mayor Claffey.
Here. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'd all remain standing. Vice Mayor Overton, could you lead us?
Yes, at first I'd like to say that we've had two prominent women that passed away in the past month. Ruth Darling, we all know that they own IGA, Foods, et cetera. And also Karen Ness, which is Kevin Ness, the jeweler down here. They both passed away, so I'd like to include them in our invocation. So please, Lord, look after this council as we make decisions for our community and even be the best that we can do. Please lift up these wonderful women into your hands and may them be bless their families and be watch over them as they continue on with their new journeys. Please bless our community and have us all be joyful and respectful to each other. And I say this in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
City Manager Flora, any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Purdock, a second from Councilmember Slutin. Please vote in your portal.
Oh, and on it here. Not getting it up. I'm not able to get it up, but I vote aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Item number 1, presentation of April's adoptable dogs. Lieutenant Snyder?
It's an interesting mix. German Shepherd mix.
Different colorful.
Yeah.
Meet Turbo. He is an approximately 2-year-old Belgian Malinois. Turbo loves long walks.
Let me restart. Okay. Meet Turbo. He's an approximately 2-year-old Belgian Malinois mix. Turbo loves long walks. He likes to play in water and makes a great cuddle buddy. He loves people and has done amazing with every dog we've introduced him to. Turbo is very energetic, outgoing boy. He would love to be in an active home with other dogs to play with. Turbo is up to date on all vaccines. He is microchipped and neutered. You can come meet him at the Clear Lake Animal Shelter on Airport Road.
Unusual color.
Yeah. Oh, Malinois, that color. Yeah.
And council members, how are you doing today?
Good.
I'm gonna give you the stats as Lieutenant Pearson's at training this week. For year to date or up to April 18th, 187 dogs have come into the shelter. For the dispositions of the dogs, 164 have left the shelter, 17 went to rescues, 136 dogs were returned to owner, 9 were adopted. We have 2 euthanized and 0 that have died or lost in shelter care. Our live release rate is currently 98.6%. Currently in the shelter today, there are 46 dogs. We have 43 dogs and 3 puppies currently. We also have issued 88 microchips year to date and 56 free vaccinations from various clinics. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. All right, item number 2, a proclamation declaring April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas in the past year, County Child Welfare Services received approximately 1,500 reports of abuse or neglect. Currently, 72 children from Lake County are placed outside of their parents' home as a result of abuse or neglect. And whereas over 4.2 million referrals are made to Child Protective Services each year in the United States for child abuse and neglect, and it is estimated that over 7.5 million children are involved. And whereas child abuse prevention is a community problem, all citizens should become more aware of the effects of child abuse and its prevention. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created among social services agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, the business community, and supporting parents in raising their children in safe and nurturing environments. And whereas current local initiatives to prevent child abuse include the Lake County Children's Council, Building Resilient Lake County, a county-wide collaboration, Nurturing Families Program, Family Pro Differential Response, Prop 64 Family WRAP, RCS WRAP Around Services, Motherwise, PIP, Positive Indian Parenting, Brado Purtis, MI Motivational Interviewing, and the Strengthening Families Protective Factors Framework. Whereas events scheduled for the month of April include the month-long Pinwheel Garden Challenge, the Children's Festivals on April 13th at Lakeport Library Park and April 27th here at Austin Park and Clear Lake, the Children's Memorial Flag Raising Event, the LISA Project Exhibit, Motivational Interviewing Training, SOS Stamp Out Shame webinar, child abuse prevention education through various social media, and a children's art contest where the winning art is displayed on placemats and shared throughout different food businesses in support of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Clear Lake hereby proclaims April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Clear Lake. Dated this 18th day of April 2024 and signed by me. Would you like to come forward? If you guys want to say a few words too, feel free. Here, let me grab this for you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kirsten Martinez, and I am a social worker with Lake County Child Welfare, the government agency charged with protecting our county's children from abuse and neglect. To accomplish this work, Lake County Child Welfare partners with local tribes, other public agencies, community-based organizations, schools, law enforcement, the courts, and concerned family members and citizens to proactively promote safety and well-being, to protect children at highest risk of maltreatment, and to intervene when needed to ensure the children do not remain in harmful situations. Child welfare social workers engage families in making positive change and seek to preserve the integrity of family systems and tribal connections while ensuring safety from abuse and neglect. Lake County Child Welfare appreciates and acknowledges the efforts of all community partners in keeping our children safe and preventing child abuse. Additionally, we thank this council for recognizing the importance of these prevention efforts, and we thank you for every decision you make and every effort you undertake to support these efforts for children and families in our communities. Thank you.
That's me. That's me. But wait, there's more. I'm Jamie White. I'm the April event coordinator. We've been putting this event on for the last 14 years. I hope many more will just be the fact that we've ended child abuse, and that's our goal. So in the meantime, We are here today. There are people in blue. We wear blue to honor our commitment to preventing child abuse. We are in hopes of building a hopeful future together. Child abuse and neglect is preventable, and it takes a community effort to ensure that all these children are well supported, and that's why we're here today, and all of these people are here to support. You did mention a couple of events that are taking place. We do have the Pinwheel Challenge going. That's throughout the whole month of April. So you should see pinwheels out in the community, and they are a symbol for child abuse prevention. They represent the great childhood that every child deserves and the role that each of us play in providing a loving and supportive environment. So put up your pinwheels and send pictures to us because there is a contest going on. You also mentioned we have an event coming up here on April 27th. That's happening at Austin Park. It's the Child Advocacy Walk and Children's Festival. So I encourage everyone to come down and support our children. And with that, we are also this year with we're hosting, there we go, that's the word I was looking for, the Lisa Project. So not sure if people have heard of that, but it is a unique multisensory exhibit experience allowing visitors to hear, see, and experience the reality of the world of child abuse. So you get to walk through exhibits and witness what what it's like for children who have been in child abuse, what it looks like. You might think that you're seeing nothing, but it's, what's hidden behind the scenes. It's an amazing, I don't want to say amazing. It's a very eye-opening, emotional experience. So I'm encouraging everyone, if you get a chance to experience that. It's happening at the American Legion Hall Friday evening, the 26th. They're doing like what do they call that? A preview of it. It's happening from 4 to 6 at the American Legion Hall. Then on Saturday, it's happening from 10 to 3. So if you're able to attend that, I highly encourage everybody to do that. And we have one other, but I'm going to let her speak on event.
And in May, the Resilient Lake County is going to be presenting its comprehensive prevention plan. On May 23rd, it's a luncheon, so we really encourage everybody here to attend. It'll be at Robinson Rancheria. This is a year, 11 to 2, thank you. This has been a year in the making and has taken a lot of different agencies and entities and organizations to create this plan. And our goal is obviously to end child abuse through it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, I know I did.
Sure.
All right, there you go.
Pardon me, before you go, since you came back, Vice Mayor Overton asked about the art contest and how folks get involved in that.
Yeah. I was like, where did
If you come up to the mic here, that'd be great.
Yes. Thank you for asking. I meant to tell about that. So the art takes place throughout the schools. We open it up to the schools, and we give the children a theme each year, and then they all submit their artwork, and then it gets voted on. And right now, this year, we were actually able to do it on both sides of the lake. So in Lakeport, Taco Bell does the placemats for the whole entire month. The children's artwork is presented on the placemat, and Taco Bell gives out the placemats for the whole month. And this year, we're actually able to do it at Subway in Clear Lake, at Trejo's Diner in Clear Lake, and Cabo's. And it was children on this side of the lake that were awarded. So there's 3 kids from the school. They got to get awarded. We gave them plaques. They got art. boxes so they could practice continuing with their art. So yeah, if you guys get a chance, go check out their placemats. They're pretty cool. Thank you for asking that.
One more question. You talked about the pinwheels and the send pictures about whatever they're doing with the pinwheels. Where does that, what email, where do they go to submit a picture to?
All over. So actually on Facebook, you can tag the Lake County Office of Education. You can hashtag Resilient Lake County and they'll pop up on our Resilient Lake County page. Or you can email, I think on the there might be information on the flyers. There's a pinwheel flyer inside the packets. So in there's the packet with all the information for the pinwheels. Yes, send pictures. We love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking that.
All right, moving on to item F, public comment. This is the time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. If you are in the chamber, decide to come up, just need your name and your city of residence. If you're on Zoom, feel free to leave a comment in the chat and we will read that out when the time comes. Anyone here in the chamber have public comment? Seeing none in the chamber, Madam Clerk, anything on Zoom?
There are no comments on Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we'll close public comment, move on to item G, consent agenda. City Manager Fleur, anything you want to pull?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we'd like to pull item number 7 for separate consideration under business.
Okay, thank you. Any item that the council would like to pull?
I move that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of number 7. We're discussing new business.
I believe I have to offer the public first, right? Yeah. Anyone in the public have anything they'd like to pull? Seeing none?
Okay, well,
Sorry.
restate the motion. We'll approve the consent agenda with the exception of item number 7, which will go on under new business.
I have a motion from Councilmember Slutin, a second from Councilmember Kramer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion passes. Item 7. Oh, you're back on. Thank you. Item 7, consideration of resolution 2024-18 authorizing the city of Clear Lake to submit an application to the California Department of Housing and Community Development for the funding under the competitive permanent local housing allocation. City Manager Fleur.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, council members, I'll give a brief introduction to this one. So you're, I think, familiar with the Connecticut Gardens project, which is nearing completion. There's a number of sort of pressures on that project that have driven the costs up, and it's quite a bit in the red at this point. But I got a call last week from a consultant that has worked with Connecticut Gardens and us before about the availability of some additional funds through. So all the jurisdictions in California receive permanent local housing allocation. You may recall 2 years ago, the city council adopted a plan for what to use that funding for. And this project was one of the projects that received a small allocation of the city's funds, but there's also a competitive pot of funding. And so we'd like to help out and make sure this project gets completed if possible. So I'm going to turn over briefly to Chris Westlake, and he's going to share a little bit more information with the council on this application.
Good evening. My name is Chris Westlake. I'm a consultant for the developers on this project. I'm also former deputy director with the California Department of Housing and Community Development. The CPLHA program this is, I believe, the third round. We've been utilizing it for projects around the state, basically a gap filler. We've used it on a lot of affordable projects. And the great thing about this is it can come in on projects that are under construction, like Connecticut Gardens. And so it is very competitive. There's only $12.5 million available this round. This funding is from SB2, which is the $75 recording fee. So the recordings have been down the last year. And so the funding is a little bit less this year for this program. The resolution that we have says up to 5 million. In talking with the developer and working through the numbers, we're going to probably be applying for $2.5 million. But in these resolutions, if those dollars change a little bit before we submit the application by June 6th, we don't want to have to go back to council to change it. And that's why we don't lock it down to the exact amount, but we'll be working with the city manager on that to get into that. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to change from the $2.5 million. If the city is awarded the funds, then HCD will go into a standard agreement with the city and the developer as a co-applicant. The city would receive the funds from the state, then the city would make the loan to the developer as a residual receipts loan, similar to what you probably have done on other projects like in the home program or CBG programs. So we will not know till this fall if we're successful on it, but HCD is anticipating that it'll be heavily oversubscribed because there's just not enough dollars available into it. But we have a pretty good shot on it. And so we'll just have to see how this round comes out. And if any of the council members have any questions about the program, I can help with that.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council? Councilmember Slutin.
So this is a loan that once we receive the funds, then it becomes a loan to the developer and then it gets paid back. Is that how it works? So we're kind of a pass through?
Correct. It'll be a residual receipts loan. So it's a 3% simple interest loan. If there's cash flow, then the city will be in a position, depending on what the other financing amounts are on a pro rata basis, about what's left on positive cash flow onto it. But you will be in a secured lien position and it would be paid back at a later period. These are 55-year loans.
Similar as we've done in other projects. Yeah, thank you.
A couple other quick points. I don't believe Chris mentioned this, but the city would be eligible for 5% administrative fee to help administer the program. And then the other thing is just noticing that this must have been an earlier version of the resolution that got uploaded. There's a couple of minor errors in there where it mentions Eureka and Councilmember Purdock being the mayor. So just wanted to have any motion direct us to modify those minor errors.
Thank you, city manager. That's null and void immediately.
I visited a couple times. It's a very nice city.
Any questions from the public? Come forward, state your name and city of residence.
Hi, everyone. Margaret Garcia. I live here in Clear Lake. My question, or I have a couple of questions. Why is the project running so much in the red? On what, I guess, aspect? Or is this something expected? I don't know how this affects the city of Clear Lake. Could I get?
You said you had a couple of questions. You want to put them out and then we'll.
The next would be, as far as you were saying, this is a loan that would not be from the city, but more it would just come through the city, right? So, because 3% over 55 years, that's a long time on $2 million. But those are my questions.
Excellent.
Thank you.
City manager, is it appropriate to ask why the project is in the red?
Well, I mean, I have a little information on that. I don't want to speak to the developer's finances. I mean, obviously these were unanticipated expenses or else they would have planned for it. I mean, there were some infrastructure upgrades that were not initially anticipated, both water and sewer system. We talked about the sewer issues recently. So that's part of it. I think my understanding from the developers is there was a variable rate on their construction loan that was initially put into place before interest rates skyrocketed, and that also caused them some issues. So
Do you recall what the total estimated cost was at the beginning? what they were thinking.
I mean, these projects are all around, I think 40 million, but I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. Yeah.
But I just want to add, and projects I work around the state on, the biggest thing we do see on these projects is in the last year or probably 18 months is the increased interest rates on these on construction loans. And also there's been delays, a lot of delays from PG&E and other public utilities on getting switch gears and other infrastructure into the projects, which then causes a time delay, which then increases our interest costs on projects. Plus, we also anticipated being able to receive some infrastructure grants from the state last year, and then that has caused a delay on from that side of it. That's why the cost.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions here in the chamber? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any questions on Zoom?
There are no questions on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
I'll bring it back to council. Any comments? Seeing none?
Mr. Mayor, I'd entertain a motion, make a motion to approve resolution 2024-18 as modified for the couple of corrections mentioned earlier. And read by title only. Authorizing resolution of the city of Clear Lake authorizing the application for the permanent local housing allocation program, non-entitlement, local government competitive component.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, a second from Vice Mayor Overton. We'll vote in the portal.
Aye.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you. And thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 8, discussion and consideration of city policy for use of generative AI tools. Or Mr. Flora.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as the council is likely aware, various forms of artificial intelligence are making their way into all sorts of software that's being utilized by the city and all of us in our day-to-day life. Some of them we are more aware of than others. There's a number of examples of things that the city has adopted some time ago that play some role in this. I mean, the video system that our police officers use with their body cameras and car cameras has some level of AI that, for example, if certain speeds or various actions related to a vehicle are triggered, cameras turn on and various things like that. But what we're talking about here today is what's referred to as generative AI, and I don't want any of you to think that I'm an expert in this, but it is something that's becoming more and more prominent. When I was at a recent city managers conference, there's a lot of discussion about how municipalities are implementing this in their organizations, and from my perspective, it's definitely something that can be quite powerful, is somewhat troubling, but is something that can add a lot of value to our work, especially as a small organization, and being able to, sort of do more with less, which is something that we're always kind of trying to do. So it's our belief that getting a policy in place for staff to sort of provide a framework for the use of generative AI in our city-related work is a good step. And there's various versions of this. There's not an enormous amount of government agencies that have adopted these policies at this point, but there are several out there. And so we think that this covers a lot of the issues that are kind of known at this time, but is rapidly changing and evolving field. And so any of the stuff that you see here, I think, is something that, we're going to need take a fresh look at, a fairly regular basis to, see what might be slipping through the cracks. But we want to try to provide a way to allow some flexibility for staff to sort of experiment with some of the tools that are available, but also provide security for data that we have and, private information that we're responsible for and things like that, so that cannot be used in any queries. So that's kind of a really high level overview. I don't know how much time you spend. There was an attachment that I included that I thought might be helpful for giving some perspective on this. And then of course the draft policy, and our mayor actually probably knows more about this than any of the rest of us in the room, and did spend a little bit of time with him going over this, had some good suggestions. I did add a little bit of additional language in after we discussed this, although there was one thing I'll just point out that we had discussed about putting something in there about having maybe a review of the policy and provide some information to the council every couple of years on this, and that wasn't something that I added back in. I kind of, that slipped my mind, but that's certainly something that we're okay adding into the policy if the council would like. So with that, I'll kind of just turn it back to you and address questions that the council may have.
Any questions from the council? Vice Mayor Overton.
On that, I would like, because this is going to change so much so fast, I think this does need to be reviewed every year, probably during our fiscal budgeting and all of that stuff. Maybe throw this in as a review. I think it is something that's going to need to be reviewed every year for a while anyway, and maybe eventually it can go to longer periods. But I think as fast as technology changes, I really do think this is something we need to stay on top of.
Councilmember Slutin.
I agree wholeheartedly. And the laws, even in Washington, they're starting to deal with these issues. So yeah, we need to keep on top of it, definitely. And that I would like to see it in a yearly review of our policies in regards to this.
I was generous. I suggested 2 years. They are moving fast, but I'm glad you guys have the same sentiment. Seeing no other questions from the council right now, any questions from the public, please come forward. All right, none here. Madam Clerk, any questions on Zoom?
There are no questions on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to say there are very few jurisdictions that are thinking like this, and we have a wonderful city staff. City Manager Flora, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for taking some input. This is the way we need to be thinking. There's so many great tools coming that are going to benefit small cities like ours. We need to do it in a thoughtful way, but also give staff the flexibility to try some of these tools and hopefully benefit the public. So unless there are any other comments, I will take a motion.
Make a motion to go.
I'll make a motion to adopt the city policy for the use of generative AI tools, with the addition to have it reviewed on a yearly basis.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Slutin, a second from Vice Mayor Overton. Please vote in your portal.
Okay.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you. Item 9, consideration of approval of a new employment services agreement with Alan Flora as city manager. Mr. Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. So since your city manager apparently is an AI expert, maybe we should look at extending his contract. So City Manager Flora has been with the city for 5 years now, which is, I'm going to say, I think is about twice the average of a city manager in the state of California. So that's a testament, I think, to the longevity and consistency that we have here, and stability in that position. So we're not looking, I'm not proposing here, this is the council's proposal to change anything fiscally or financially, but there's two terms that may make sense to amend the contract. Because this had multiple layers to the contract, it was easier just to draft a new one. But the first one is to extend Mr. Flora for one additional year. His contract was set to expire about this time next year. This would now have it expire in 2 years from now. And hopefully the council is looking maybe to extend that even in the future. The other item is to add a term with regard to termination for cause. And what this language would be is within the first year after the election of a new council member, it would require a 4/5 vote of the council to terminate the city manager just for cause. A termination, I'm sorry, without cause.
Right?
Termination with cause does not require a 4/5 vote at any point. And after that 1 year point, it would go back to a simple majority when it comes to termination without cause. Sorry for that mix up. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Nope. Any questions here in the chamber? Yep, come forward.
Hello again, Margaret Garcia, City of Clear Lake. I just want to say that I think Mr. Flores a great city manager, and I back him up and love to see him around for a while longer. So that's just all I have to say. Oh, I did have a question. How many folks are on Zoom right now? Thank you.
We're watching on Zoom.
That's not on the agenda, ma'am. But it's a valid question. We'll take your first part.
I'd be able to go ahead and tell it, but.
No members of the public are on Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, with that, Madam Clerk, I assume there's no comments on Zoom.
You are correct, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We'll bring it back to the council here.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the attached employment services agreement, extending agreement for a term of 2 years and such other information that's on there.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion.
Before you vote, can I make a comment?
Oh, please.
So motions are okay to do before. I do want to comment that Al and I have been here for almost 20 years. And I have been through many city managers. And I want to say publicly that I really respect you highly for what you do. You have saved us in many situations that I cannot believe you got us out of some of them. And I just really want to say that I am, it's a privilege to work with you. And you've done a fabulous job with our city and helping us move forward. So I really just wanted to say that publicly, that, you know, you deserve everything that we can possibly offer you. So.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, one of the longest seconds in city council history from Vice Mayor Overton, but we'll take it. Please vote in your portal.
Hi.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You just don't do it.
All right. Well, now you've been extended for 2 years. Let's hear your report, City Manager.
I have a couple things. Thank you for your support, trust, and leadership. Just a reminder to the council members that the ribbon cutting for Oak Valley Villas is coming up next week. Hopefully you can all attend on Thursday. I believe it's 11 o'clock. There was a recent Supreme Court decision last Friday related to impact fees. We've been talking about that related to the fire district. So just wanted to highlight that. This was a U.S. Supreme Court case related to impact fees in El Dorado County. And so, you know, the decision was requires some action from the lower court, and so some of the clarity on that will come at a later time, but our city attorney's office is working on some information related to that, and we'll, you know, provide anything as we move forward that the council needs to know. Little behind our anticipated schedule and getting some of our road projects out to bid. So we have three main road projects. Well, there's four main road projects planned for this year. Through with Measure V funds and then one with CDBG funds. Because that one, this is Arrowhead and Burns Valley Road, because of the federal funds involved in that, there's a little bit different process. And so some of our it's just delayed a little bit more. So we're not exactly sure when that's going to go out to bid. The other three projects were supposed to go out to bid this week, and we wanted to, one of them, the design's been done for a little while. The other two are nearing completion, but we wanted to bid them all at the same time so that even though they'd be separate projects, because we thought we'd get one contractor bidding on the whole package. And so I think we'll still be getting one of them out tomorrow and the other two hopefully next week, but it'll still kind of be within that period where hopefully we'll get larger contractors bidding on those. We talked about funding for Canocte Gardens, but wanted to give the council just a brief update. We've been having weekly meetings related to the situation with the sewer system. There's still some unknowns, but and some ups and downs, but progress is looking fairly favorable at this point. I think they are going to be able to start occupying the building here in May and be able to keep that on track, and the contingency plans for completion in the fall are coming together and being designed. Just doing anything we can as a city to help. One of the roadblocks for the design work was a significant delay on surveying, and so we're using our contracted surveyor and city engineer to do that work more quickly, and then Special Districts is going to reimburse us for that. But going to continue having the weekly meetings with all the players to try and keep this going. Sign a letter of support for a grant through NCO. It's a relatively small one, but they're hoping to get some funding for an extreme heat and community resilience program that would be implemented partially in the city of Clear Lake, maybe in some other areas too. But this is intended to help folks that, because of health conditions, may be more sensitive to extreme heat. And so they've developed these, they call it a solar chill system, but it's a solar powered mini split that could be put on folks' homes that maybe don't have that. So anyway, just trying to be supportive of that, and we'll see if the funding comes together. This is through the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. The police department is advertising for an additional school resource officer right now. Funding will be provided by the school district, but excited about that and hopeful that we'll see some good candidates for that starting next school year. And then I guess the final thing, I wanted to turn it over to Chief Hobbs for a little bit. So you're aware of a number of sort of pedestrian related traffic accidents. Seems like there's been a lot and there's been concern. We do have a traffic safety committee scheduled for next week. And Chief Hobbs has been doing some research into this, and obviously this isn't time for a larger discussion about that. That will happen next week, but some interesting findings that and some steps that the police department and public works are already collaborating on that I thought the full council would like to hear. So I'd like to turn over to Chief Hobbs.
Thank you. I just want to talk about a couple of things that we've been doing the last couple of weeks and then started doing today to hopefully see if we can have an impact on the traffic safety in the community. There's a lot of other things we've been talking about on the police department side and been looking into that we will be discussing at the traffic safety committee meeting next week. So I'm not going to go into any of those, but a few of the things we've been working on already, trying to help out in the area. We've been doing extra traffic enforcement. We've been using the radar trailer in areas that we think are more likely to have some of these collisions or repeat areas where we've had collisions. And again, just the traffic enforcement includes doing extra traffic stops, but just having people out being visible in the areas so that people see there's a police car there. And hopefully they slow down, pay more attention when they're driving around. And then today we started working with Public Works. We're going to be deploying some of their message signs around town, different locations with just text on them regarding pedestrian safety, driving safety, things like that to help people be a little more alert, pay attention, hopefully, remind them that they should be focusing on some things when they're driving around, like, pedestrians, people walking along the sides of the road, look for pedestrians crossing the road, just general awareness and doing some of the things that all drivers should be doing to be more aware and cognizant of what's around them and not just focusing right in front of their car. Hopefully avoid some of these other things. So we'll be doing that for a while and moving those signs around to different locations. We'll be doing some events where we will be doing extra traffic enforcement with radar and doing enforcement and citations in the nearby area after people pass these message signs. And hopefully get the point out there that people need to pay attention a little more, especially if they're around these signs. They see a tip on one of the signs on speed or different things. They should pay attention and hopefully get some people to start driving a little better and paying attention. Some of the tips will be at nighttime safety tips for clothing type things after dark and just paying extra attention when you're out in any inclement weather conditions at night.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That's my report.
Thank you both. Councilmember Purdock.
Wondering if I was going to be first. So last week we had our Lake County Transit and Area Planning Council meeting. Nothing really specific to report on that. Appreciate Councilmember Slutin sitting in for Councilmember Kramer on that. You're welcome to add to this limited report. Had the executive committee yesterday and that was in closed session. So we'll have a further report for you after our next general meeting next month.
Right. Councilmember Slutin.
I attended the opening or the groundbreaking for the Elam Colony fuel station. That was very nicely a speech from our city manager. I wonder if he used AI on that one. I did went to the APC meeting, and the one thing I did notice on one of those big, huge spreadsheets that said where projects are going to go, I saw the encroachment limit on 18th Avenue, and I also saw the fund being allocated for broadband along Highway 53 through our city. So those were kind of things that I noticed. For the rest, I seldom go to this meeting, so I was a little bit lost, but that's the two things I saw. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kramer.
I appreciate your sitting in. I couldn't make that meeting, and they didn't mention anything about lights on Highway 53, I take it.
No, they didn't.
Anyhow, I did attend our RA meeting earlier this week. Nothing of special interest to us. And last week I hosted, actually, our Lower Lake Community Action Group hosted an area plan meeting in Lower Lake for the Lower Lake area plan, which was very interesting. And I think it's going to be an interesting process going forward. And that's all I have.
Vice Mayor Overton.
Don't really have too much. I just want to kind of set up there for our seniors that we do have our senior summit coming up next month at the beginning of the month, and it's going to be at Twin Pines. So if anybody wants to, register, they need to register ahead of time for that. And that's being sponsored also by Sutter Hospital, which is kind of nice that they're kind of coming around as much as Adventist Health has done so much, that it's nice to see Sutter kind of starting to step up and get involved. I kind of like that. I went to the Lake County Chamber last night and listened to a wonderful presentation from Alan on our shopping center. Everybody was very excited to hear him and his enthusiasm as always. So he got a big hand of applause for his presentation. So, and that's pretty much it. I think I went I'm going to be going to the League of Cities, our meeting that's coming up. I will be going to that, beginning of next month. I don't have the exact date. I think it's the 3rd, right? So I'll be going to that up there. Just, hopefully, I'll probably just be going to the business meeting and coming back though. I won't be getting to have any fun. So, and so I think that's it. I think that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Wonderful. I was with Councilmember Slutin at the groundbreaking for the Elam Travel Center. We have the ribbon cutting next week for, I believe it's called Oak Valley Villas with Danco. Canocti Gardens, it sounds like that's opening soon. So a lot of great things are happening in the city. Thank you for everyone who's investing in our city. Thank you for staff for making it easy for them to invest in our city. And thank you for the council for having the vision. That is all. Do we have any future agenda items? Hearing none. We move to closed session. Thank you all for joining us.